Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking on a really fascinating mission, trying to find the fast track to English fluency. And this deep dive, it's not really about grammar rules or vocabulary lists. It's about how to become a consistently confident speaker.
That's exactly right. And the source material we have is it's brilliant. It's split perfectly into these two halves.
Okay.
On one side, you've got these very structured instructional guides about, habit formation.
The science of it.
The science. And then on the other side, you have these incredible, just chaotic and hilarious real-life conversations.
So we have the science of consistency right next to stories about accidental hugs and surprise parties gone wrong.
Exactly. Our mission today is to kind of synthesize those two worlds. We're looking for the techniques that make the daily effort actually turn into, spontaneous conversation.
Okay, let's start where the instructional material begins. The foundation, the power of consistency. Because the sources are really clear on this, you can have all the motivation in the world, but if you stop after a week, you've basically made zero progress.
And that is the number one roadblock. It's the most common thing. You see learners who say, they start so strong, maybe a 2-hour session on a Sunday.
Yeah, they go all in.
And then by Thursday, it's gone. They've dropped off completely. That lack of regularity, it just kills any long-term progress.
So the sources introduce this critical concept to fight that. It's the phrase, getting in the habit of something.
Mm-hmm. And the insight isn't just, what a habit is.
We all know what a habit is.
Right. It's how simple the action needs to be so that you don't fail. The key is lowering the barrier to entry until practicing is almost passive.
So what are these low-effort, high-impact methods they're recommending? It's not, setting aside 8 p.m. every night for some intense study session.
No, not at all. That's the old way. That's what leads to burnout.
Okay.
The sources suggest coupling the language practice with the routine you already have, something that's non-negotiable.
Oh, like habit stacking.
Precisely. There's this one suggestion, listening to English podcasts every morning while making breakfast. The breakfast is happening anyway.
Right. So the language just becomes the soundtrack to your existing routine?
Exactly. And the key phrase they use to describe the results of this is over time.
Okay, over time.
It's basically compounding interest for language. Just a few minutes a day makes a huge difference, but slowly, over time. The small, reliable bits of practice are so much more valuable than one massive effort once a month.
So the message is, don't try to be a master today.
No.
Just aim for 3 minutes of listening while the kettle boils.
That's the core message. It takes all the pressure off.
Okay, so now we transition. This is where I think it gets really interesting. It's about why these real-life stories are the things that stick in your memory.
This is the genius of it. You have the consistency, that's the vehicle. But the stories, the emotion, that's the fuel.
So the idea is that when you tell a story about your own life, you're attaching vocabulary and sentence structure to a high emotion event.
Exactly. Emotion equals retention. You're going to remember the word terrified much, much better if you connect it to the face of a surprised pizza man.
Right, rather than just seeing it on a flashcard.
A flashcard is abstract. The material says, real life is always funnier than a movie. Humor, surprise, embarrassment. These are powerful memory aids.
So let's dive into these anecdotes. They're almost like case studies for conversational flow and this kind of emotional vocabulary.
Yeah, let's start with the chaos.
We'll begin with the highest stress one, the case of the mistaken surprise party. This is Emily's story.
And the setup here is a fantastic lesson in prepositions. The family was hiding behind the sofa, behind the curtains.
But the detail that makes the story gold is the brother.
The brother, right. He wasn't hiding behind the sofa with everyone else. He was in the kitchen pantry.
And why was he in the pantry?
Because, as Emily explains, he was very hungry. It immediately gives you context for a word like pantry.
Okay, so then the climax. They hear the key in the door. They all jump up, screaming. And standing there, holding 4 big pizzas, is the pizza delivery man.
Just shell-shocked. I mean, his face probably taught them the meaning of terrified right then and there.
And the linguistic takeaway isn't just the word, it's the apology. You learn how to say, in a high-stress moment, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, we thought you were my sister.
Right. And then the final little twist, which is so sweet. They gave him a huge tip, and he actually stayed and ate cake with them.
He became a special guest.
Yeah. It gives you a whole narrative you can use to tell your own embarrassing stories.
Okay, let's move to another case of public embarrassment. Paul's story from the messy community day. This links the word paint to the nose.
Right. So Paul has this really simple job. Paint the community fence white. He's concentrating, swish, swish.
But he's ignoring one crucial thing.
The wind.
Yeah.
And the wind just picks up the paint right off the brush and blows it all over his face, his glasses.
He says he looked like a ghost with a white nose.
And this is where the memorable dialogue comes in. The very serious Mrs. Higgins sees him. She doesn't laugh. She just hands him a towel and says.
What does she say?
She says, Paul, the paint goes on the wood, not on the nose.
That is just conversational gold. It's so dry and funny. It locks the vocabulary paint, wood, nose, together with that specific rhythm.
Yeah, if you practice saying that line, you're not just practicing words, you're practicing the rhythm of dry humor.
Okay, next up, a happier accident, the accidental office retreat.
This one started as a total disaster. The internet went out for 2 hours.
Everything just stopped. No screens.
Right. Usually it's just silence and type, type, type. But for 2 hours, they just had to sit there and, people started talking.
And they made these discoveries about each other.
They learned that Sarah, who's usually totally silent, has 4 cats. And their boss, Mr. Thompson,
The serious, intimidating boss,
is a passionate baker.
Yeah.
He makes sourdough bread every single weekend. So you're learning all this niche, personal vocabulary, sourdough bread, baking. And the takeaway line from that story is so powerful.
What is it?
When the technology stops, the real conversation starts. It's a great reminder that real talk is where you find the best words.
And finally, the one I think we can all relate to, the supermarket hug. The link here is hug and stranger.
It's the perfect storm of mistaken identity. A guy sees a lady in the tomato aisle.
And she looks exactly like his Aunt Mary.
Exactly. Same coat, same gray hair, same height. His brain just makes the connection.
So he goes up behind her, gives her a big hug, and says, "Hello, Aunt Mary, how are you?"
And of course, the stranger turns around completely confused, maybe a little angry.
And he says he turns so red, that feeling of your face getting hot. We've all been there.
We have. But the resolution is what makes this so good. After he apologizes, the stranger smiles and says something amazing.
What does she say?
She said, "It's okay. I wish I had a nephew who hugged me like that."
Oh, that's so sweet.
Isn't it? And you learn that great phrase, "I wish I had," and his life lesson from it all.
Let me guess. Always check the face first.
Always check the face first. The story packages the instruction with the emotional punch.
Okay, so we've got the 2 pillars. Consistency and these emotionally charged stories. Now, how do we actually practice this stuff? How do we apply the methods to the content?
This is where you stop just listening to the stories and start, using them. The sources give 3 very specific active techniques.
All right, let's start with the simplest one, repetition.
It's not just about watching or listening once. The guide says to engage with the same short story many times, like every day for a week.
So the first time is just to understand it.
Right. But after that, you're listening for the rhythm, the flow, the little phrases. You're internalizing it.
Which leads right into the second technique. This one's more active. It's called listen and answer practice.
And this is about forced recall. You listen to the story, then you pause it, and you ask yourself questions about it out loud.
So after the office story, you'd ask, did Mr. Thompson like baking? Or did Sarah have 1 cat or 4?
Exactly. The act of saying the answer out loud forces your brain to move from just recognizing words to actually producing them.
It's pulling the language out.
Yes. And that leads to the third technique, which I think is maybe the most powerful for sounding natural. It's shadowing practice.
Shadowing. This is where you're basically a linguistic parrot, right? You say the lines right after the speaker.
You try to match their speed, their pitch, their intonation.
And this is where those emotional stories really shine.
They do. Think about shadowing Mrs. Higgins' line.
Paul, the paint goes on the woods, not on the nose.
If you just read that on a page, you miss the delivery. It's so dry and deadpan. Shadowing forces you to adopt that personality, that cadence.
So you're not just saying words, you're performing them. It stops you from sounding like a robot.
It bridges that huge gap between knowing English and actually speaking English.
And the final piece is to not just do this with the source material.
Right. The ultimate practice is to use these techniques on your own life. We learned about Sarah and her 4 cats. So maybe you talk to your cat. Or just yourself. Tell your own daily stories in English.
Even if it's just about spilling your coffee or sending a text to the wrong person.
Those are your high emotion events. That's how you use the consistency method, 3 minutes while you brush your teeth, and the story method to anchor your own vocabulary.
That process of talking to yourself about why you were late for the bus, that's what builds the muscle memory.
That is how the small steps lead to the big results over time.
This has been a really amazing deep dive. It takes us from the cold, hard structure of habit building to the warmth of funny human connection.
Mm-hmm.
So to summarize, fluency seems to come from finding that minimal daily habit and combining it with the courage to share your own emotionally resonant, often hilarious stories.
And there's one last crucial piece of advice in the sources. It's about perfectionism.
Don't obsess over understanding every single word.
Exactly. That's another roadblock. If you miss a word or two, that's okay.
It's fine.
Just listen to the flow. Listen to the feeling. The more you listen, the easier it gets.
Yeah.
Focus on the feeling of that terrified pizza man. That emotional understanding is the foundation.
Focus on the flow, not the word list. That's powerful. The sources end by basically asking you to use your own life as the textbook.
It's a call to action. You get fluent by applying, not just by accumulating.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. What story of mistaken identity, small failure, or accidental conversation will you use today to practice your English? Go make some memorable messes.
And then practice telling those tales.